wonderful traditions of the church. That is All Saints' Day and baptism. You know, we have already experienced the beginning of Christian life that is found in baptism through what we just did together. And then All Saints, it talks about how you live your life once you are baptized. And so baptism is the first step of the journey of a lifetime. In some traditions, sainthood is a specific designation of someone who has died, and they've given them this designation after death. Yet throughout the New and Old Testament, the people of God are called lots of things. But what they're called most, believe it or not, is saints. You know, in culture, we often put the two things, saints and sinners, together. And of course, not very many people want to necessarily live their life as saints, because that just does not seem fun, right? You know, the sinners are, Billy Joel sang about that, you know? The sinners are the ones who have all the fun. You know, but I think that we kind of have given the role of saints a bad reputation. So today I hope that what happens is that you will have a desire to live your life as a saint. The first thing is, to live your life as a saint does not mean that you are living a life that is perfect. Nelson Mandela, who is just this amazing person, said, "I am not a saint unless you think of a saint as a sinner who keeps trying." Every saint has a past, and every sinner has a future. So, we are going to be real honest up front here, and we're going to say that we all fail. We all fail in life, and so if we all fail, then how can we be claimed to be saints? Well, the great theologian Martin Luther describes saints as those who simultaneously are a saint and a sinner. So we're both squished together in the same body. Sometimes in life, like today, we see life with hope and love and desire to serve. We feel really close to God. And so we definitely are leaning this way towards sainthood. But there are more than enough days that our brokenness takes us in the other direction. When we fail to recognize the image of God in others, when we gossip, when we use sharp words, when we hurt others. Those are the days that we kind of forget our baptism, and we try to go it alone, rather than ask the community to join us for this tough journey ahead. I'm sure that those of you who were here for the baptisms of Kaylee and Michael and Isabella, you have come in some small way for the party afterwards, right? I heard there's like a good Italian mama who's going to make some food, right? So that's going to be, the part that you want to come from. It is that community that hasn't just joined together to eat food, but is coming and saying, we will support you. Because there will be those times in which our journey is tough. There will be those times in which we can't just hide our eyes from the hurt that is around us. There will be those times in which we will look and we will see the need. And we will have to question about spending our money just on ourselves. These are the moments in which that sinner part of our humanity takes the lead, when we do things for the big I rather than for the community. You know what? When we come to a certain point in life, we're like, we're not bad people. I don't think we've broken too many of the 10 Commandments. But then I want you to kind of think a little deeper. It's not so much being the murderer, but being someone who suffers a little death because we are so harsh. It's not so much about stealing, but when we steal someone's dignity. It's not so much about adultery, but that when we fail to love deeply those we should. It's not so much about a child disobeying their parents, but instead it is about the adult who fails to see their aging parent as a blessing rather than a burden. Thankfully, the Apostle Paul, the one who is one of those who uses the term saint so freely, he is optimistic. He is seeing people through his Jesus glasses. See, he sees the possibility that we all can be transformed. That even though we are broken, transformation is available for us. God is confident that he can have an empowering presence in our life. And when we are challenged by life, that we can come up on the side of sainthood. If we ask, God will change our hearts. To the ones that lead and have a need for others, it is important that first what we do is not see ourselves as the center of the universe. Babies are amazing. I have 5 grandchildren, and so I know that for a fact that babies are amazing. Well, we have 5 grandchildren, thank you. But babies are very eye-centered. They really don't care if you get sleep. They really don't care if your feelings hurt, that when you pick them up they scream, bloody murder. They're all about taking care of the eye. And when we move towards sainthood, what we do is we move toward community and God being the center rather than ourselves. If we ask, God will change our minds and expand our vision beyond what is seen on the surface. God will open us to hearing the story behind each person. I was listening to someone that was talking about something that happened on Trick or Treat. And they shared that they were in themselves judging, why was this certain person trick-or-treating? And then they realized that it was a special needs child that just happened to be larger. And that what this moment of conviction of why was I thinking that? The moment between sinner and saint is so bright for us. God will offer us hope in the midst of the impossible. When our politicians seem like they cannot agree on anything, when we are perched on the edge of war, when our economy is at best shaky, God will be there for us. God will open our souls. So often we fail in life when we are unwilling to accept the gift of grace that God offers us. What we call grace is a gift that is given freely. It is forgiveness. It is love that comes from God and washes away the things that create that line between sinner and saint. If we are willing to be forgiven, then we can be people who can forgive. If we are willing to accept this gift, it will lead us to healing. That we do not have to give in to things in life that lead to failure, like our addictions or our habits that cause us to fail, like giving in to worry and fear. Instead, accepting grace, God says, I do not want you to be afraid. Instead, trust that I will be faithful. When I was a little girl, I probably was a little unusual, I'll go with this. But I used to love to watch stories, and back then they seemed to be movies that they put on Sunday nights about saints like Joan of Arc and Saint Teresa. And it seemed like if you were going to be a saint, first of all, saints, their names were embedded in stained glass windows, or maybe their images. And they always died young in some tragic way. So I figured, at best, I'd have to live till about 16 or 17 if I was going to pursue sainthood. And I just, was like, okay, am I going to be the person who's like feeding the birds, as I had seen, St. Anthony feed, one saint. Francis, sorry, thank you. Francis feeding the birds. Anthony is the lost causes. So I just figured, this life isn't going to be long, and I think I can be good for this long. Well, what a surprise when I turned 18. We can't pursue sainthood on our own. It is something that God requires to be traveling alongside us. Christianity stretches back 2,000 years. And it goes forward until who knows when. And in the midst, we are people, ordinary people, that are called to live our lives, walking with Christ beside us and trying to be the saints God calls us to do. In time, there will be people who are well known for their saintly acts. But there will be far more people who lived in ordinary towns like Bloomsbury, those who constantly struggled with living life the best as possible, and all of them are called saints. Some of them left us, like Darlene, who was our drummer in our band, who came faithfully every Sunday to play the drums and chose to give up her salary a few years ago because she just loved this community so much. Or maybe like Basil Homa, who we found out when he passed away that he cleaned the school for free. There might be saints among us who many of us sitting here today might not remember, but as a church, we remember them. We remember Lola Hall, who faithfully came and played the organ, and her family is here in the back today. Or Jane Gardner, whose family is here, who was a trustee chair and cared for this building until he could pass it over to today's trustees. Or Glenn Pickle, who came here as a child and was baptized here, just like the children were baptized here in this place today. I know also that you have loved ones who have lived their life in faith, in a way that God was evident in their lives. And you will, in a few moments, have a chance to light a candle and remember them. Then there are those saints who are still perky and alive, that are still working among us. Maybe it's the mother who faithfully loves her child despite all their destructive behavior. Or the dad who works a job that he hates to provide for his family. Or the seniors who crochet blankets for those who are hurting, although their arthritis in their hands hurts them. Or the wife who cares for her husband with cancer. The grandmother who has been charged with taking full-time care of their grandchild. The addict who shares his story to encourage others. The teacher who spends her own money so that her children in school have the material. The widow who gives her Social Security to buy snacks for the Sunday school. And the list goes on and on. And so I ask you today, what is calling you to sainthood? And how will you pursue it?